This is me, Nicole Bradford. Cute, huh? This is my dad, and this is my dad. How'd I get two dads? They inherited me. Congratulations!
Remember when primetime sitcoms tried bold ideas and somehow made them work? Like two totally different guys raising a 12-year-old daughter in a Manhattan loft because neither of them knew who the biological father was. That was My Two Dads, a show that didn't need paternity results to deliver plenty of parental panic, 80s fashion choices, and surprisingly heartfelt moments. Sure, the premise raised some eyebrows, but somehow this odd little sitcom carved out its own spot in the Gen X memory bank and gave us one of the most unconventional families ever seen on network TV. Today, we're diving into the weirdest, wildest, and most wonderfully unexpected facts about My Two Dads, the show that proved you don't need a traditional setup to deliver classic sitcom chaos. Now, before we jump in, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. It really helps the channel keep digging up these nostalgic gems. Here are 10 weird facts about My Two Dads you probably never knew, starting with number 10. The crossover that let Bull loose. Night Court was pure late-night mayhem, a courtroom full of oddballs, scam artists, and the weirdest defendants New York City had to offer. It wasn't just another legal sitcom, it was a circus where the cases were wild and the staff was weirder than the criminals. My Two Dads was another 80s favorite about two very different men raising a teenage daughter after her mother's death because they didn't know which one was her biological dad. Hey, it was the 80s. One dad, Paul Reiser, was a straight-laced businessman. The other, Greg Evigan, was a free-spirited artist, and somehow their makeshift family actually worked. And standing at the center of this crossover chaos was Bull Shannon, Night Court's towering, lovable bailiff. He looked like he could flatten you with one finger, but deep down, Bull was a big softy with the heart of a golden retriever. That contrast, intimidating on the outside, sweet and simple on the inside, made him one of the most beloved characters on 80s TV. On March 1st, 1989, NBC made the ultimate sitcom power move. In the My Two Dads episode Playing with Fire, Judge Wilbur faced a threat from a recently released convict and Bull was assigned to protect her, which meant Bull had to move into a nice, normal suburban home. Cue Bull trying to adjust to family life, emphasizing the trying part. Instead of dealing with courtroom craziness, he found himself refereeing teenage arguments, navigating kitchen disasters, and learning the hazards of shared bathrooms. Watching Bull, a guy who was built for midnight madness and mugging suspects, try to handle PTA drama and kitchen cleanups, that was straight up sitcom gold. This crossover had more awkward energy than your parents discovering TikTok, and fun fact, Judge Wilbur had already made a cameo on Night Court earlier that year. NBC knew a good thing when they saw it, and they weren't shy about double dipping. Today, this crossover lives on as one of the most unexpected and heartwarming sitcom team-ups of the decade. Because if there's one thing 80s TV taught us, it's that even a 6'8" bailiff can find a second act as a suburban bodyguard. Kind of. Number 9. The mystery that launched the show and was never solved. Now let's start with the big one, the mystery that launched the whole show and was never solved.
How could I have been so stupid as to love you when he was my father? How could I have been so stupid as to love you when he was my father? I'm being silly? How can you do this?
In the season 3 episode Pop the Question, Nicole, Joey, and Michael finally take a paternity test to determine who her biological father is. Michael and Joey's parenting styles had clashed so hard that they agreed the non-biological father would step aside. Nicole took the test but wasn't happy about it. She didn't want anything to break apart their family.
Now, my daughter is a good student. I have seen to that. And she has earned the right to see a classic movie like The Wizard of Oz in a theater.
Wizard of Oz is about a vicious little girl who steals shoes off dead women.
The lab ran the test, the results arrived in a dramatic moment worthy of an Oscar ceremony, and Nicole ripped them up without looking.
I have two dads.
Yeah, you do.
And the show never mentioned it again. Not once, not even as a joke. 3 seasons, 60 episodes, and not one mention. They could have slipped it in with a throwaway line, "Remember when we found out you're allergic to shrimp like Joey?" But instead, total sitcom blackout. The show was never about proving which dad mattered more. Nicole had 2 dads who loved her, and that was the point. But for viewers, a lot of us tuned in each week thinking maybe this would be the episode where we finally find out, and instead we got Paul Reiser arguing about frozen lasagna. To this day, fans still debate whether this was bold ambiguity or just a classic case of "we'll figure it out later," and then never did. Either way, it was pure 80s sitcom logic. Set up a mystery, then leave it hanging like a to be continued that never continued. The paternity test wasn't the heart of the show, but the fact they never closed the loop, that became part of the legend. Number 8, stage mom sabotage rewrote the cast.
Sweetie, this is the child. This is the child's smile.
Backstage drama? You think dance moms invented that? Please. 80s sitcom parents were writing the script decades earlier. Staci Keanan nearly got to work alongside her real-life best friend Devin Odessa, who was this close to landing the role of Nicole's on-screen bestie. The two were inseparable, the kind of friendship where you finish each other's sentences and apparently compete for the same job. But then entered the stage mom sabotage. During the audition process, Devin's mom casually mentioned the girl's real-life friendship to another parent in the waiting room. That parent, clearly auditioning for worst person at a dance recital, took the info and ran with it straight to the producers. An anonymous letter showed up claiming Devin was a bad influence on wholesome little Staci. No details, no evidence, just anonymous, unverified preteen drama delivered with the precision of a Bond villain. The result was that Devin didn't get the role. Staci had to smile and pretend that her new TV best friend was just as good as the one she lost, and some mom somewhere went home thinking she'd saved Hollywood from friendship. For a show built on unconventional families and sticking together, the real drama was unfolding in the parents' waiting room like a PTA cage match with lip gloss and passive aggression. But don't cry for Devin, she bounced back with a solid acting career, landing Sharon Chersky in My So-Called Life, plus roles in Uncle Buck and The Facts of Life. She also reunited with Keanan in a 1992 episode of Step by Step. These days, she's still in the game with a role in the upcoming movie Shark Girl and a thriving career as an acting coach. Not bad for a bad influence. Number 7, from sitcom star to deputy district attorney. Staci Keanan spent 6 years playing America's most overparented child. 3 seasons dodging paternity mysteries on My Two Dads, then 3 more navigating blended family chaos on Step by Step. After all that fictional family drama, she did what any smart sitcom survivor would do. She quit Hollywood cold turkey and became a lawyer. Okay, not immediately, she stuck around for a while. After My Two Dads, Staci hit her peak as Dana Foster on Step by Step, plus roles in TV, movies, and guest spots, keeping busy through the early 2000s.
Can't believe I forgot to do that. I wanted to wear my green sweater tomorrow. God, Connie, I was so scared.
It's okay, Dana.
Then she pulled off the rarest trick in Hollywood, a graceful exit. Under her real name, Anastasia Sigorsky, Staci enrolled in Southwestern Law School, passed the bar in 2013, and became a practicing attorney in Los Angeles. She served as deputy district attorney in both Riverside and LA County, handling felony cases involving violent crime and homicide. Today, she's also an adjunct associate professor at her alma mater, probably the only law school faculty member who has lived with Greg Evigan and Patrick Duffy. From canned laughter to cross-examination in the great Where Are They Now files, Staci Keanan graduated summa cum badass. And just for the record, she has been solving mysteries professionally since 2013, something My Two Dads never got around to doing. She married actor and producer Guy Birtwistle in 2017. Turns out she didn't need a paternity test to find a happy ending, just a bar card. Number 6, when Greg Evigan replaced Jackson Brown and nobody noticed. Now, if you only ever watched the pilot of My Two Dads, you might have had a double take moment. Wait, is that Clarence Clemens from the E Street Band playing saxophone? Well, congratulations! You're one of maybe 6 people who remember the show originally opened with Jackson Browne's "You're a Friend of Mine." It was upbeat, catchy, and so relentlessly optimistic, it could have powered a small solar farm. But by episode 2, it vanished, replaced by something original, softer, and way more on brand. Enter Greg Evigan. Yes, the dad with the magnificent mullet stepped up to the mic and delivered an original theme song that was basically the musical equivalent of a warm hug.
You can count on me, no matter what you do.
You Can Count on Me captured the show's thesis in under a minute. This was a family whether DNA said so or not. Evigan's musical theater background showed when he sang "You Can Count on Me no matter what you do" that it actually meant something. It captured the core message of the show: love, support, and sticking together, even if no one knows who the biological father is.
Standing by your side, I'll be right behind.
Sure, it might not have reached the iconic status of Full House or Family Ties, but for fans of My Two Dads, You Can Count on Me became synonymous with the show's heart. And here's the twist. In later reruns and DVD releases, that theme was sometimes swapped out due to licensing issues, replaced with bland stock music that completely missed the vibe. It was like replacing the Cheers theme with elevator music. For Gen Xers who grew up with it, that original theme wasn't just background noise, it was part of the identity. The intro credits with Nicole, the dads, and the judge set to that song told you everything you needed to know about their family dynamic before a single joke was delivered.
No matter where you go, you can count on me.
Now, are you loving these behind-the-scenes secrets? Show us some love with a like and subscribe. Now, let's get back to the countdown with number 5, Real New Yorkers inspired the show. You'd think a premise like 2 men co-parent a daughter, neither knows who the biological father is, and they all move in together in Manhattan would have to be dreamed up by a room full of sitcom writers hopped up on Tab Cola and strawberry Pop-Tarts, but no, it was inspired by real life. Show creator Michael Jacobs has said the show was directly inspired by 2 New Yorkers he knew personally who helped raise a child together under this exact kind of arrangement. One of them was likely the biological father, the other wasn't, but loved and parented her just the same. And here's the kicker. Jacobs himself never asked which one was the real dad.
Our family is doing fine just the way it is. Why do you want to go and ruin everything?
Will you sit down, please?
I don't want to sit down.
Honey, ever since we got you, we have tried to make you comfortable with the fact that you have 2 fathers.
I'm comfortable.
Yeah, but Michael and I aren't comfortable anymore.
So the central mystery of the show, that paternity test that never got revealed, wasn't just a writer's room gimmick. It came straight from a situation where nobody asked, and more importantly, nobody needed to know. The fact that this arrangement worked so well in real life meant the writers didn't dare mess with the formula. Why force a reveal when the story already made emotional sense? Sure, it drove some viewers nuts, but that stubborn mystery? It became the show's secret sauce. Number 4. Florence Stanley, judge, landlord, and director? You know Florence Stanley as the formidable Judge Wilbur, part family court judge, part sneaky landlord, and part moral compass, dishing out wisdom and rent collection notices in equal measure. But here's what many fans might not have realized. She also stepped behind the camera to direct a season 3 episode called Kind of a Drag. Now, while it wasn't unheard of for actors to direct back in the 80s, especially those with a strong connection to the material, it was still a rare opportunity for a supporting cast member. Unless you were a lead or had serious clout behind the scenes, chances were slim you'd be calling action.
Despite the intent of the will, the court's responsibility is the welfare of the child. Before I turn this case over to social services, I want to make sure Nicole is satisfied with her 2 new guardians.
But Florence Stanley wasn't just any supporting player. She was a Broadway veteran who'd been commanding stages long before she ever put on her judicial robe. She brought timing, presence, and just the right amount of side-eye on screen and off. According to cast interviews, her directing style was exactly what you'd expect, like the world's most loving but no-nonsense grandmother telling you to nail the joke the first time. Judge, landlord, director, full-time scene stealer. Florence Stanley did it all, and she still looked like she could tell off Dick Butkus and make him apologize. Number 3, the network executive decision that almost changed everything. Now, it's hard to imagine My Two Dads without Staci Keanan as Nicole Bradford, the heart of the show, the emotional glue between two wildly different father figures, and the kid who somehow made being raised by a stockbroker and a biker seem totally normal. But after the pilot, NBC wanted to recast her. Yeah, network execs reportedly considered replacing Keanan before the show even made it to air. The reason was that she was only 12 at the time, and Nicole was a complicated role.
Why don't you just admit it? You'd rather have a boy than me.
Hey, how could you even think that, Nick? Nicole.
Grieving her mother, adjusting to a brand new home life, and somehow being more emotionally mature than the two grown men raising her. NBC may have wanted someone older, more camera ready, or with more sitcom experience under her belt. But producer Michael Jacobs stood his ground. Good thing he knew better, because Staci Keanan didn't just hold her own, she crushed it. She brought warmth, sarcasm, vulnerability, and perfect deadpan delivery to a role that could have easily felt forced in the wrong hands. The industry noticed. In 1988, she won the Youth and Film Award for Best Young Actress in a New Television Comedy, and went on to earn multiple Young Artist Award nominations, not just for My Two Dads, but later for Step by Step, where she became a Gen X Friday night staple all over again. So yeah, NBC wanted to swap her out, and instead she became the face of the show and a standout teen star of the late 80s and early 90s. Number 2, the sitcom dad casting choice that changed 2 shows. Before Paul Reiser became Michael Taylor, the tightly wound financial advisor and half of the unconventional parenting duo on My Two Dads, he was almost cast as another iconic sitcom dad, Danny Tanner on Full House. According to Full House creator Jeff Franklin, Reiser was one of the first actors he considered for the role. The two were friends, and Franklin reportedly offered it to him directly, but around that same time, NBC was developing My Two Dads, and Reiser had a decision to make. Reiser went with My Two Dads. With him out of the picture, the role of Danny Tanner went to actor John Posey, who actually filmed the original Full House pilot. But the producers still wanted Bob Saget, who they'd wanted from the beginning. The only reason he wasn't cast initially was he was under contract with the morning program, CBS's attempt at an entertainment-focused morning show that launched in January of 1987 and tanked in the ratings almost immediately. 9 months later, the morning program was canceled and Saget was suddenly available. So ABC scrapped the original pilot, reshot the entire thing with Bob Saget, and gave the world the version of Full House that stuck. Warm, wholesome, and full of hugs and rippers covers. Paul Reiser became the neurotic financial planner, Bob Saget became America's dad, and TV history got 2 very different but equally beloved sitcom fathers. Number 1, the $250,000 gamble that broke records. Here's the ultimate "wait, what?" moment in TV money history. My Two Dads was never a ratings juggernaut. It didn't crack the top 20, and it didn't launch a serial. It wasn't must-see TV, it was more like, oh yeah, that show TV. But in 1990, USA Network paid a jaw-dropping $250,000 per episode for syndication rights. That wasn't just a big deal, it was a record for basic cable at the time. To put that in perspective, that kind of syndication money was usually reserved for mega hits like Cheers or The Cosby Show, series that dominated primetime and rewired pop culture. My Two Dads? It was a modest performer with a loyal but limited fan base and a paternity mystery that never actually got solved. So why would USA drop serious cash for it? Simple. Cable TV was in growth mode and the syndication market was shifting fast. Independent local stations were disappearing into Fox affiliates. That left networks like USA with a golden opportunity to fill the programming gap and grab shows that might have gone elsewhere a few years earlier. Unlike the broadcast networks, cable channels were bound by FCC rules that limited syndication deals, so USA had more freedom to spend and move fast. They needed content that could anchor afternoon and early evening slots, and My Two Dads offered a unique premise, a family-friendly tone, and just enough of a "hey, I remember that show" factor to justify the gamble. It worked. The show ran for years in syndication, became a Gen X cable staple, and pulled off one of the most inexplicable syndication paydays of the decade. Because if there's one thing Hollywood taught us, you don't need to solve your core mystery or even be a hit to cash in. Sometimes being different just pays. So there you have it, 10 weird facts about my two dads. Which facts took you by surprise? Which ones did we miss? Sound off in the comment section below, and hey, if you liked this nostalgia trip, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming up next. Until next time, this is Remember When.